at Firmus Advisory, and I'll be your moderator for today. Before we get into the presentation, I'll just give a brief introduction about Firmus Advisory Limited, and I would introduce the speaker and give the modalities for the webinar. So Firmus Advisory Limited is engaged in business advisory services. We have a number of departments that serve the various needs of our clients. As you saw in the video that was playing, we have the compliance department, the market research and trade development. We have the tax and accounting department, and we have the legal department and the HR department. In addition to these, we have subsidiary businesses, Firmus Connect, creating internship opportunities for students, and internship recruitment for employers. We also have Easy Start, which serves the needs of the small and medium-scale enterprises locally. So that is Firmus Advisory Limited. If you want to know more about us and read our articles and other things that we do as a company, you can visit our websites at www.firmusadvisory.com. So for today's webinar, is entitled Ghana's Customs Publican AI System, which is going to look at the AI-driven customs compliance system set up by the GRA and the Ministry of Finance. Our speaker for today is in the person of Mr. Emmanuel Doche. Mr. Doche has over 15 years of experience in tax and accounting, and he is the head of the tax and accounting department at Firmus Advisory. So that is it for our speaker. For the webinar for today, we would start with the presentation. After the presentation, we would have questions and answers. If you have any question, please put it in the Q&A session and we would address them. We'll try and address all your questions. Any question that is not addressed, you can send them to our email and our officers in charge would address them for you. So please sit back and enjoy today's webinar. I'll hand over to Mr. Doche now.
Thank you so much, Senior Counsel, for such a wonderful introduction, as usual. We'll go straight to the agenda of the day. The Publican AI software deployed by the Ghana Customs earlier in the year. And this is basically an artificial intelligence driven software that is going to help in the vetting processes of our custom clearance at the ports. It is also going to help in valuation of customs shipments or cargo. And even though it is very new in the system, it is designed in such a way that it is going to work hand in hand with the main valuation software or system of customs, which is called the ICAMS platform. We'll look at that into details. It is going to help try to block loopholes, alleged loopholes, and also prevent invoicing. That is what the government says, and that has been widely reported. And if you look at the figures that have been given by the states, especially the 2026 budgets, it is stated that from April 2020 right up to August 2025, 525,000 IDFs, that's import declaration forms, were processed. Okay, and the estimated value of these IDFs is 83 billion US dollars. And as it stands, it is only $32 billion, $52 billion out of the 83 billion that have actually been processed or linked to imports. As to whether the rest are services or otherwise, the report didn't give so much details, but it is an impression created that if we have 525,000 ideas declared, okay, and processed, then it is expected that the same number of ideas would also be linked to imports or importation. And the percentage that is declared out of what has been processed is about 63%. It's about 63%, leaving a whopping 37% of undeclared or ideas that have not been linked to direct importation, which obviously would cause revenue loss to the state. So as I was saying, this is the first time that an AI tool has been deployed at our ports to help in the cross-referencing for classification and valuation purposes. That notwithstanding, this is not the first trade referencing tool in Ghana. There have been several trade referencing tools in Ghana. Even as we mentioned the name ICAMS. ICAMS has some modules that makes it help customs officers in the trade referencing function because it has records of transactions, that shipments over the period. Custom officers usually rely on it to do some form of trade referencing and to compare your current transactions to previously processed transactions, those that are not in the remote. And that will also help in the establishing integrity of transaction value. In the near past, we were having what we call the PASS, Pre-Arrival Assessment Report System. Actually, that was replaced by the ICAMS. That was also a typical trade referencing tool that the customs deployed in the past. Those who have been in the space for some time now, I'm sure you've heard of GCNet, the almighty GCNet, the Ghana Community Network Services Limited. This was also replaced by ICAMS, trade referencing tool. So what is it about this Publican AI that is creating so much euphoria, that's creating so much attention? What is it at all? Yes, Ghana is deploying it for the first time in its trade facilitations. But that is not the only African country that have deployed it. Rwanda deployed last year, that's 2025. Egypt, Morocco, and South Africa also followed things in the same year. Our neighbor, our big neighbor, Nigeria, also deployed this at the late part of 2025, and it's being used in this year, even though not fully rolled out, but it is an AI tool. Benin, just the next door neighbor, deployed their AI tool in shipments as far back as May 2025. So it's like a new dawn for African countries. They have realized that government is losing a lot of revenue. Government is losing so much at the ports. Some will put it that government is bleeding as to the justification of the AI deployment. Well, we will see. Probably at the end of the presentation, we'll all be well informed as to what the true way forward is. For European countries and the rest of the world, I would say they started a journey long, as far back as the 2010s. South Korea, European Union, and the rest, even including our own almighty United Kingdom. So AI in customs operations is not new. It may be new in Ghana, but it is not new in the world, or even in Africa. Okay, so how the Publican AI system works, or how it is expected to work. Let me qualify it, because depending on who you are talking to, they say, oh, it's not doing anything. Or others say, oh, it's doing very well. It's helping governments, for that matter, the states, to rake in so much. Okay, so we have the declaration stage. It is not different from what we used to have, even when the AI was not in. When the ICAMS was working alone, you still have to declare through the system. There is a front end point that customs, the clearing agents who have been licensed to and given access would process the declaration. And this specifically will state the harmonized code of the item that you are declaring. Okay, and this helps in classification. So if it is Toyota Corolla, is it S or is it LE, and which year? All would inform the HS code or the harmonized code that would apply for that particular item. And it is also important that you declare the country of origin. We'll come to that in our presentation later. The country of origin is very, very important. And goods coming from China, goods coming from Belgium, and also goods coming from USA. Are they supposed to have the same custom value? If not, what will be the factors that will cause the disparities? Okay, it is also very important to get the transaction value. That is the emphasis. Transaction value. That is the cost at which the importer procured those items. So it is not different from what we already have in the system. What the Publican AI now is doing is enhancing this process. It's making it more efficient and more effective. So after the declaration stage, then Almighty AI sets in. It will do a cross-reference, and this is done automatically. You don't have to do any manual work. Immediately the feed is received into the system, it is engaged automatically. It will scan all the shipments against thousands of global trade data. So all over the world, databases have been linked to the AI software, and immediately that scan is done. And within 5 minutes, you should have a result, whether it's going to flag it or otherwise. And we are talking about real time. And after that, there is further scrutiny. So if there isn't any flagging, then it means the clearing process will be completed. You have to pay your duty and the necessary charges, and off you go with your cargo. However, if there is a flagging due to the HS code, due to the country of origin, or even the transaction value, AI thinks otherwise, then it means the customs officer will have to do further scrutiny. Okay, that's the third stage. That's where you'll be asked to bring in documents. Okay, so if you think the transaction value is 2,000, where is your evidence? Where is your commercial invoice? Do you have any contract to that effect? Is there any other bank document to show that, yes, that's the amount you remitted to the vendor overseas? So you would have to prove your case. And definitely, it would have to be in line with the WCO, that's the World Customs Organization framework. That would not have to be violated. Would still don't satisfy the query system put by the AI together with the customs officer, then it will be turned down. The uplifted value will be used, but you have the opportunity to still contest this dispute through the appeals committee and what have you. We'll be looking at that into details. Now, let's come declaration stage. As I mentioned, it is important that we do that. And just as any other custom clearing process, you would have to declare what you have brought. Okay. And this has an integral system already in place. That's the ICAMS. It's a very robust one-stop shop custom clearing tool. And instead of in the past where we have so many online platforms and always all scattered around, you have to move from one office to the other. This is a one-stop shop that integrates all the valuation, classification, and even payment process into one unit. So that indeed is a unified processing system. Okay, and those of you I will mention again who have been around in the around the space for some time, where's Blue Consulting? That brings a lot of memory. They will continue, they will not continue. We will call up their contract, GC debt, so much noise. And those were the systems we were running before the ICAMS came. Okay, and at the declaration stage, the core functions are obvious, just as we mentioned. Okay, so what makes the icon so special is because of its tracking capacity. Okay, so immediately your shipment goes in, you are made to generate a unique reference for your shipment. So you can use that to track your shipment wherever it's gotten to, at what stage of processing, even including disputes, whatever stage of clearance it has gotten to, you can use the ICAM system to track it. It's a very robust system. And the Publican AI is working as an integrated tool in the ICAMS. So it is not setting aside what we already have as a nation, as far as customs clearance and GRA is concerned. Okay, it is sitting on top of it, making it more efficient in terms of classification, making it more efficient in terms of declaration value being valid or acceptable, making it more efficient for payment processes to be carried out. So basically, that is the declaration stage of the Publican AI software. Then we move on to the cross-referencing. That's where the problem is. In the past, when we were using automated cross-referencing, there was not so much euphoria. The system was quite smooth. So some believe that then the problem is with the AI software. This is the first time we are deploying it. Why is it uplifting people's values of shipment? Well, there may be a justification. Probably there may not be. So AI would not just reject these values if it falls within what we call the upper limit and the lower limit. So it will look at all shipments that have been procured all around the world that are in the database. So I mentioned about Toyota Corolla. If you buy a Toyota Corolla 20 model S, and it is sold at US maybe 2,000, it is sold at China at 1,300, Belgium at 1,200. It will give you a range. So if your Toyota Corolla that you are bringing the same year model with the same specification comes and yours is 400, definitely it will flag it. It will surely flag it. So if it is flagged, it is then up to you, okay, to bring what we call justification. Okay, so the data is matched against a benchmark that is assessed by the Ghana Customs, and in that happens one with no problem. So why is the system flagging 25%? Could it be that the system has a defect? Could it be that the people are under invoicing? Could it be that they have a superior bargaining pros that have made them get custom values for their shipments at a very low competitive rate than the rest of the people who have gotten PS at 75% cleared? That leaves much to be desired. So for us to go into that details, all what customs is saying is that bring a documentation to back it. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. It is very important that we establish the origin of a shipment, a cargo, because the origin of where it is coming from would influence insurance. What is the insurance policy? Even though customs may have 85% points, 85% to 1% of the cargo value as insurance, depending on whether it's a freight, air freight, or sea freight. It depends on also the country where it is coming from. Okay, so some countries may have a higher than normal insurance value. When I say higher than normal, it means they may be higher than the 1% or the 8.85%. Some may also have very low. Okay, so it depends on the origin of the country of the cargo. It's also important that the origin would establish the freight cost. So how expensive a cargo will move from US to Ghana as compared to from China to Ghana, and also from Belgium to Ghana, would all be dependent on the distance. And this will feed into the CIF value. And CIF value is an integral value in the determination of your duty, as you can see on the screen. Okay, so one item, the same HS code, everything the same. Because of the origin of the cargo, it will give you different import duty. Okay, then we come to the more milkier section. That is the harmonized code. So we have a range of 5 to 20 percent. Okay, depending on the tariff that relates to your products. Okay, so if I select a code, okay, that is not what has been assigned to that product in the system, the tendency that I'll get a lower duty rate is high, because I also go through the system. Toyota Corolla should have an HS code of 5510 and the duty rate is 18%. But instead of picking that HS code, my clearing agent goes to pick a different HS code. Okay, it goes to pick a different HS code. Now, if that happens, it will definitely affect the duty that you are supposed to pay at the end of the day. Not only that, it is going to affect the VAT, it is going to affect NHIL, so there's a cascading effect. That is why it is important that we get this component right. If we don't get it right, there are so many cascading effects of revenue losses. We've not even brought in other levies that are charged at the port. Okay, so this cross-referencing thing is a big deal. It's a very big deal that the country had to embrace, and we embrace it for it to be done in harmony with the WCO and WTO guidelines when it comes to customs. Okay, so after the flagging of the shipment or the cargo, you, the importer, would have to come and justify. Okay, that notwithstanding, there are regulations when it comes to shipments. Okay, worldwide, it is the transaction value that should be considered in duty and other taxes computation. So one country cannot just wake up one day and say, okay, for us, we are setting aside the transaction value. Your commercial value is of no use to us, and we are going to strictly go by our AI values. It will not help in that regard, okay? Because the World Customs Organization and the WTO have stringent regulation that insist that things like that should be used. And Ghana has subscribed to it, and therefore we'll have to live by it, because that is what the law says. And if you insist that your value is right, then you would have to bring evidence of your transfer, bank transfer. That's your SWIFT advice. You would have to bring your original commercial invoice and any other bank records that you have at your disposal. You would have to bring it, and for the officer to scrutinize and compare with the figures that you have declared, if indeed it is right or it can be validated. When it comes to WCO valuation framework, as I mentioned earlier on, we have the first method, which we refer to as the primary method. Valuation should be based on the transaction value. Supposing there is a challenge that we couldn't get the transaction value of the item. Maybe these are things that you have bought for a very long time, you can't find the invoice, or because of one or two reasons, there is a challenge in the determination of the transaction value. There is an alternative method, which the guideline stipulates, that we can use values of similar or the same nature transactions, which are not so remote, okay? And our own Customs Act, Section 68, subsection 1, also supports that method. Okay, so it's not right that AI will come and determine without any cause. I think that has been the protest, that has been the agitation. Okay, so AI cannot come and determine. But custom also keeps on insisting that the Publican AI system does not make final custom valuation decision. What does it do? It serves as a risk assessment and valuation support. Does the WTO allow risk assessment tool to be used in custom valuation processes? Yes. So that is where the argument of GRA is. The AI is not detecting the transaction value. It is rather using a cross-referencing mechanism to ensure that risk associated to your value that you have declared may be minimal, so that governments would not lose revenue in that regard. So that is the argument of the GRA. Okay, and it is always known that the Publican software will flag issues of origin and your transaction value, and even the HS code that you are using. It doesn't do only that. If you are bringing items or cargo that are considered to be security items or threats to our security as a country, it will be flagged. So gone are the days where you had to do a manual physical inspection. You open the containers, we do this and that. But the AI, when you feed all this information, it will tell. It will cross-reference with all our trade laws and also our agencies that are responsible for security issues. And based on what have been fed into it, it will flag those items so that Customs officer may not even know that, hey, there has been a law that forbid this item to come into the country because it's a security item. It will flag it immediately. Okay, if you have banned drugs by the FDA, it will flag it immediately because customs work hand in hand with these agencies. If you have unwholesome food items that have been declared unwholesome, a typical example is turkey tail, what we normally call trophy, but they are always in the system. That's also very surprising. Even though it has been declared unwholesome, but it's all over the place. So the issue is now that AI Publican has come, probably it will flag those ones too. That's if they go through the post system, so that we can have our dignity maintained as a country and as a people. Disputes resolution process. So if the custom officer insists that, hey, what you are bringing in, okay, it still doesn't match what your documentation says, then it means we are going to have a problem. If you insist that it is right, definitely solution is already in place. The customs has aside, and it is only the Ministry of Finance and the GRA gurus that are taking care of that. No, the CBSB is still in place. Okay, the Customs Technical Service Bureau is still in place. That receives the first complaint. If it goes through the mandates and it thinks that it cannot accept the claims of the importer, then there is another level where you go to the appeals committee. Okay, the appeals committee is formed by both the customs officers and the finance ministry. Okay, so over there they sit every day just to make sure that there is agency attached to disputes that comes up as a result of flagging by the Publican AI system. Okay, and there have been so much agitation now that the system is in. So there has been a workout. Instead of 6 members, there is a proposal to have as many as 12 members, so that trades unions, organizations, importers would also have representation on that committee. And I think it's a fair deal. So that whatever scrutiny is done, there will be an input from the stakeholders, the broad stakeholders, and that would definitely bring peace in our ports. So government revenue will not continue to leak. It's very, very important. Now, if the appeals committee still does not meet your expectation and you think you still have some grievances, you can go further with this resolution committee. Okay, and that also sits twice in a week, and definitely it is hoped that you get your resolution. If it doesn't end there, then it means there is really a challenge. There is going to be really a challenge. Okay, it had to be dragged to its possible conclusion. And you being an importer, you try as much as possible to also make your documents available, provide legitimate, valid documents, so that it will support the appeal process as it is. So basically, that is the function of the Publican AI system. That's basically it goes through these 4 stages. Okay. Now, the usual sources of revenue leakage. These are the usual suspects. Government says for the past number of months, government is getting extra at least $3 million extra revenue as a result of the AI system. As well. Okay, very good. Right. there have been reversal of those, okay? Because country of origin have been reversed. So if you bring a shipment from US and there is a transit through China and it comes to Ghana, the country of origin is not China. The country of origin still remains the USA. So the Publican software is flagging those. And these are the usual suspects. And this is a revenue leakage funnel. Goods smuggling and diversions. There are so many things happening at our ports. There was a news sometime last 3 months that cargo, a truck full of cargo, which was meant for Burkina Faso, had diverted its course and been offloaded at a site in our dear nation. So this is a typical example of a smuggling network. Okay, it bypasses the controls of the customs systems, and that means losing money. Okay, shipping and cargo document manipulation. Yes, that is what the finance ministry tells us. That's what GRA officers tells us. That importers, some falsify clearing documents. Okay, they falsify clearing documents, and an important clearing document that may be used is the manifest. So the manifest would declare all items on a particular vessel or a particular cargo truck and tell the various classification to it. So if an importer can falsify such an important trade document, a document that is tabulating the items that are on a particular cargo ship, then definitely that importer will not just walk to the office, grab the document, do whatever it wants to do on it, and have their way. No, definitely there should be a collusion. Okay, some staff of the shipping line would have to be on board. Some staff of GRA would have to be on board, and even the clearing agents of the importer would have to also be on board. Okay, so this will be synonymous to loot and share. That's the mechanism, and that's what we have been made to believe. That's why the AI software is in. Okay, so what has been the success story of the AI software all this while? Okay, under invoicing spotted, yes, leakages have been done, sealed. It has improved government revenue as a result of flagging of these leakages, yes. And as I mentioned earlier on, 3 million is believed to be saved every day. So you can just imagine 3 million for 31 days or maybe 30 days times 12 times the number of years that the Publican will be running. Your guess is as good as mine. Okay. It also reduces human discretion. So in the past, okay, so when we pass the system through the ICAMs and there's some cross-referencing done, you can go and see the customs officer. Oh, no, last year, it's the same thing I brought. Even this year, beginning of the year, I brought it. Oh, look into it for me. And what happens behind the scene, nobody knows. Okay, you have agreed. I'm putting it to this figure. So there's discretion. So one officer will put it at rate number 2. Another customs officer will put it at rate number 3. Another customs officer will put it at rate number 4. There was this client that we were working with, and there was a post-clearance audit. GRA staff came around. How come this item, is this one item, you cleared it at this rate, and another time you cleared it at this rate? And the question is, but my client doesn't generate the custom values. It is your office. that generates the customer value. So is it the client's fault? Is it the taxpayer's fault that an officer gave the rate at 2% at a point in time, and another officer gave a rate of 4% at another time, and another time? No, you can't blame the taxpayer. But you see, because it's an audit, the taxpayer will have to bear the brunt. Okay, so all this human discretion that brings about a lot of arbitrary prices and also human factors that may not be consistent over the period have completely been erased. AI is going to help erase it because the AI will have a standardized ruling. Okay, and even if there will be discretion at all, it will be minimal. It will not be so much. Okay, it will not be so much. Okay, then cargo clearance significance. It's also very, very important. The low risk declaration and also reducing delay at the port. Okay, so if your declaration is low risk, you clear it quickly. Okay, and also risk-based customs audit. Yes, custom would conduct a post-clearance audit based on flagging of the AI. So it makes it easier. And if you want someone to audit, the auditors will not have problem at all. They just go into the system, run the system and see which taxpayers are being flagged frequently. Then you go to them. So it makes it very, very easy. Now, these are the operational challenges. Is the AI that have been deployed having a legal basis in custom shipments? Because as I mentioned earlier on, the WCO and WTO state clearly that for custom valuation purposes, the transactional value should form the standard stage. It should be the main valuation components for duty computation. Okay. That notwithstanding, the guideline also gives room for every country to deploy a tool, a risk management tool, to ensure that the validity of declared value or transactional value are established. So there is one leg of legality, and there is also another leg of a provision, making sure that the transactional values are intact. Okay, so let's run quickly through the WCO guidelines. So may not be used to determine the custom value for imported goods. Yes, the AI cannot be used to determine value. Okay, and it must assess potential risk. Even if you want to use it, you are using it because of potential risk to determine the truth and accuracy of the shipment. If you also want to use it, make sure that the database that you are using is updated regularly. And as to whether the database linked to the Publican AI is going to be updated regularly is also another issue. But we are hoping that because it's a global trade database, we are hoping that it would meet that qualification. Now, the fact that AI has flagged a shipment by itself does not make it a potential risk. It doesn't mean that the importer has a dubious commercial invoice. We can't put it simply like that. There are several reasons why a particular declaration may be much, much lower or even much higher than another. I think we mentioned one. Okay, so that is also not to say that so long as AI has flagged it, then that is it. Okay, there's something we call the provisions of decision. So 6.1 had to be satisfied. And what is that? That is to give the opportunity for the importer to justify his claim. Okay, so there may be genuine differences. They might have negotiated a very good price because they are buying in volumes. It's possible. Okay, so if you are buying one Corolla, Toyota Corolla, and somebody is buying about 1,000 pieces to come and sell, definitely how much you buy one will not be the same as how much another person is buying 1,000 pieces. Okay, and the country of origin, Toyota Corolla from China cannot be the same as Toyota Corolla from US, as we look at. So there may be genuine concern, other genuine concern. So you give the opportunity for the taxpayer or the importer to justify their claims. It's very, very important. And that means the provisions of the WTO guideline 6.1. Now, governments has allowed it because our act also supports it. So the issue of legality may be cured by section 67, subsection 1 of the Customs Act 891, because it says where there is a provision made in the law, and the AI is a provision that have been made, okay, which will help in the determination of a custom value, why not? It can be used. So it is believed that this would cure the legal argument that have been raised by certain courts. It is also believed that this AI tool is unpredictable. Yes, one time you were clearing at 2 cedi, now you are clearing at 10 cedi or 4 cedi. You don't know when the AI will give you a different value based on changes in the global trade database. So it is believed that it is bringing a lot of inconsistency, and it is throwing the importers' budgets out of gear. But probably we'll have to apply our mind to this. You don't have to wait for your shipment to come in before you start declaring or start the processing through customs. Even whilst you have bought it and it's still at the country of origin, or you are making an arrangement and you have the necessary documentation, you can make your declaration through the ICAMS with the support of your clearing agents. So you don't have to wait. Okay. There are concerns also about revenue collection share by the company that owns or is the brain behind the AI. That's through that investment. It is believed there are some figures that are thrown about that they have a percentage share and what have you. So if they have a percentage share, of course, the argument is that if they push for more revenue through genuine means or also foul means, then their stake will be increased. Yes, that's a legitimate call. But as to whether that is a fair call is also another issue. There is a pushback that there should be a full disclosure of the contracts, the contract between government of Ghana and through the investment. Okay, and that is the issue, the bone of contention now. And they want to know how long that contract is going to run and what is the renewal clauses. Okay, and was sole sourcing chosen to select that company, or it went through competitive bidding or tendering? So these are legitimate questions that are hampering the progress, the smooth progress work of the AI operational challenges. Okay, there are also concerns that, well, we have deployed this AI at the ports, Tema and Takrady. If you have an appeal to make, you would have to proceed to Accra, where the appeals committee sits. Okay, but this may not be entirely true, because you don't have to go physically to the appeals committee meeting place. Okay, every appeal is supposed to be made through the ICAM system. Okay, so if you have any challenge, if your cargo have been flagged, you go through the appeal system on the ICAMS platform, so that you can have your concern made, okay, and also heard. Concerns about centralized appeal may not be a valid point. Some clearing agents claim that the unpredictable nature of the software makes people lose creativity. So if I can go and bargain for very good competitive prices, eventually AI will uplift it. So what's the point? Whatever price I get, I bring it and do my duty on it. And there have been several reported mistakes, genuine mistakes. And this is a machine learning item. Okay, whatever is fed into it, that is what it will replicate. So if humans are putting something into it and there are errors, certainly the errors will be played back, what we normally call the garbage in, garbage out. Okay, so it's a usual concern, and it's a legitimate one, which had to be heeded. What is the way forward? Before you make any declaration of your shipments, make sure you have a valid commercial invoice. You have a packing list, you have import declaration form, and also you have a thing. So before you import something, make sure you go to GRA to generate a thing for yourself or for your business. Okay. And the other regulatory agencies permits like EPA, FDA, GSA, Ghana Standard Authority. Make sure you get clearance. Avoid under declaration. Don't try to cut corners. No. Maintain strong support evidence. Okay. So have you paid the shipment? Yes. Where is your bank transfer document? Is a bank assisting you? Okay. Where are the letters of credit? You get it? Very, very important. Do you have legitimate sales contracts? Where is your commercial invoice? Your packing list? So you have to produce all that. Okay. And if there is any agreements, service agreement that you have with any agency, supply it, your insurance. So all those documents had to be made available. If you had a discount, where is the evidence that you had the discount from this reputable organization, a company overseas? Provide all those documents, and your case will be heard. Okay, very, very important. And make use of dispute resolution process. Don't just throw your arm, your hand in the air in the spec. No, go through it legitimate. If you think you have legitimate concern, make use of it. Okay, it's very, very important. Okay, and avoid importation of contraband goods. That one, it will not suffice. Okay, AI will flag it. And also engage tax people to help you in your presentation. Okay, help you understand what is really going on. See, it is always good that you spend a little money. Okay, as you is free. You can engage Firmus to give you a very concise advice on how to go about this. Okay, for a very small fee. All right, so I think that will be the end of our session. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate your presence with us. And I hope this has been of use. You've not wasted your time at all. Okay, legal counsel, senior legal counsel, please, can you take it up?
Hello. Thank you so much, Mr. DJ. Our legal counsel had to move, so I'm stepping in. My name is Anita, and I also work with Firmus Advisory. Thank you for the insightful presentation. I believe that for most of the participants, not only have we received a useful introduction into this new AI system that has been introduced, but we've been equipped with a good amount of information so that we know what this introduction means for efficiency at the ports, compliances, and future clearing processes. We would now like to move on to the Q&A session. We have quite a number of questions, and I would also like to prompt us if there were any areas of Mr. Duche's presentation that you need clarity on, kindly put them in the chat box or in the Q&A session, and we'll be ready to address them. But I have a few questions here. I'm going to start with those, and let us know if you have any questions along the way. All right, Emmanuel, are you ready for me? All right, fantastic. So
Please go ahead.
All right, our first question is, someone wants to know whether the system is fully automated or there are still some type of human intervention along the way. I think I'll read out two questions at a time, and then you can address them. Once you're done, I would go on with the other questions that are coming. So the first question, I repeat, is the system fully automated or is there still some level of human intervention? Question 2, can importers challenge an AI-generated customs valuation? Can you kindly take it for us?
Okay, Madam, thanks so much. I think in the course of the presentation, I mentioned that this is fully automated, not just automated. It is also AI driven. Okay, so if it is AI driven, it has some level of automation. Okay, for the cross-referencing to be done seamlessly and also in real time. Definitely there will be automation in there, but it is not a conclusive valuation. Okay, definitely there will be a human intervention, but minimal human intervention. That's why the custom officer, when the AI flags your declaration, would call your attention that this is what is happening. Do you have any evidence to buttress your values to that effect? So if you have the evidence, the bank transfer documents, your commercial invoice, your trades agreements, and what have you, if you have all those legitimate documents, you can present it to the customs officer, and that should be suffice, provided they are legitimate and they support your claim. That's why it's important that you keep your trade documents. Very, very important for situations like this. And can importers challenge an AI? I think I've even answered that question in the press. So if you have legitimate documents, why not? You can test the system. There are appeals committees that are waiting to hear your case.
All right, great. Thank you so much. I think our next question, in some ways, you just answered. The person wanted to know if AI values differ significantly from the invoice value. They want to know what happens when AI values differ significantly from the invoice value. And then this question, I think you also partly addressed during your presentation. They want to know whether the system considers discounts, promotional pricing, or related party transactions. So if you could address these two for us, then we can move on to other questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam. The question as to whether if the AI value differs significantly, right, from the invoice value. Yes. So if you have your documents that will buttress your point, that will support your stand, why not? You can do something about it, and so you can present it to make your point. And the discount issues, the promotion issues, yes, these are factual arguments. These are realistic. They are practical. They are practical arguments. You buy something from a vendor, you've been very consistent, and because of that, he wants to give you a discount, or you have been buying in volumes. Just give proof of that evidence, of that transaction, which is giving you a discount. Just make it available. And the reasons for the discount. If it's a promotion that they are running, definitely the promotion will not be under the table. It will be broadcasted. So you provide evidences of those promotions running, okay? And you present it to the committee. Definitely you'll be given a hearing. So it is not a blanket thing, because already the WTO guide says that AI cannot determine transactional values. So that is a fact. And the GRA is aware of that. So if you can prove beyond doubt, if you can prove with document that indeed you have a discount, there was a promotion running and you have a promotional price, definitely they will give you a hearing.
Okay, fantastic. So, and someone wants to know how secure the system is in terms of hackers, system failures, network breakdown, and what are the measures put in place in case such incidences escalate?
Okay. That one there, maybe we'll have to bring the IT gurus, but but that notwithstanding, I think well, let's look at these sectors of our economy, especially the bank, the financial sector. Hackers have been targeting them a lot, and they spend so much money to secure their system. But once in a while we hear, oh, something has gone through. Once in a while we hear, oh, it's been breached. So for systems, you cannot say never and never again. So it's up to the GRA to put mechanisms in place so that we'll not hear one day that, oh, the system is down, or the system not only being breached, but even the system downtime. Oh, the AI is down, or there is no electricity, or that. So GRA will have to be up and doing and put safeguard measures and also alternative systems so that if the AI is down, we can have a robust alternative to maintain government revenue flow.
Okay, great. Mr. Musa Mohamedou also wants to know whether the AI system is being integrated only at the ports or is also at the borders, land ports, and then airports.
Okay. For now, the information available is that it is being deployed at the ports, the land ports, the seaports. That's Tema and Takrady. Okay, so I'm sure it is something that they are rolling out. Eventually, it will catch up with everything. I will not even be surprised if it's at land ports, because things are moving very fast.
All right, thank you, Emmanuel. The next question, the person wants to know how can companies budget effectively under the new valuation system?
Okay, so the issue of budgets, I mentioned it in the presentation. So you don't have to wait till your cargo arrives at the shores of Ghana. Immediately you make trade contacts and you establish your consignment. Come and make a declaration. At least you have a commercial invoice, you have a pro forma, you have this, you have a packing list. You getting it? You may have an IDF, you generate it through the system, and you make your declaration. So you don't have to wait for the cargo to come to the shores of Ghana. And the transit points and the turnaround time is quite long. It will take days and weeks. Okay, so before it comes, you might have gotten a fair idea as to how much duty you are going to pay. So immediately it lands, you make the necessary payment, and that's it.
All right, great. And next question. Someone wants to know, how does the system treat transfer pricing transactions between related parties?
Exactly. Well, there is no clear guidance, especially as I mentioned for the discounting and also promotion, but it depends on your strong documentation. Okay, so do you have a transfer pricing agreement with your related party vendor? Is it your mother company that you are importing from? Is it an associate company that you are importing from? If you have a very strong transfer pricing agreement, and that is considered to be at arm's length, don't forget our Income Tax Act 896 also borders talks on arm's length transaction, and this is the same GRA that handles that law as well. So the committee will look into it and determine whether your rates quoted in the transfer pricing agreements are at arm's length. So determination will be made based on that. So if you are buying from your sister company from Dubai, and we are using Toyota Corolla again, probably it's my favorite car, and it's 2,000. Okay, so maybe they would give you insurance. They will provide insurance for you from the origin to the destination port. They are also going to provide trade facilitation, okay, credit facilitation. Maybe they will give it to you at 3 months, which is not usual. Do you get it? They'll give you 3 months trade credits, and also they are going to give you a technical service free. Okay, you will not get it anywhere. So if your cost is 2,500 and the market's open cost is 2,000, what is the justification for the extra 500? So if there is a justification, you state it. Oh, for me, I'm not paying until after 3 months. That is a justification. Oh, for me, I don't even pay the insurance. So they pay the insurance for me. That is a justification. Oh, for me, I even have technical service. If I have problems with any of those cars, they fly from Dubai, come, service is free of charge, and they go. If you have independent parties trading, that will not be free. So if they have done all those free and they have factored it in the price, that should be a legitimate reason. So if you can defend it, why not? The system should give hearings to you. The appeals committee would listen to you.
Great. Francis also wants to know whether one can use overpayments in one declaration to pay for another declaration if all documentations are found to be correct and justified. I will repeat, one can use overpayments in one declaration to pay for another declaration if all documentations are found to be correct and justified. And if that is the case, he wants to know how long it takes to get a refund.
Okay, so when it comes to applying your credit to another transaction, you would have to write to the GRA, okay, that's the Commissioner General, seeking clearance for you to use your credit to apply to another. But even before you do that, there should be a clear statement that you are not owing any other tax handle. So if you are owing some other tax handle and you want to use your credit to defray other tax liabilities, there may be a challenge. Okay, GRA will not just give you a refund. Before there is a refund, they will do a thorough tax audit. They'll conduct a comprehensive tax audit, not even a desktop. They will do a comprehensive tax audit, ensure that you don't have any tax handle liability. So it may be a trade credit, but you have not paid your income tax. You have not paid your withholding taxes. There is a VAT lingering on your portal. Definitely, there would be a refund. Okay, so they will offset your your credit to all those other ones before we're talking about refund. And refund will take 60 days for application to be heard. If after 60 days it is not heard and you apply follow up, it will take up to 90 days. So it is not easy that GRA will just give you a credit like that.
Okay, thanks so much, Emmanuel. I think we'll run through 2 more questions and that will be the end. Someone wants to know what are the implications of post-clearance audits? What are the implications of post-clearance audits?
Okay, post-clearance audits are likely to become more data-driven. Okay, so it means you have actually paid for your item. So Publican AI aggregates and analyzes large amount of transactions information, making it easier for customs authority to identify certain anomalies and repeat patterns. Okay. Now, because these are historical, it is expected that you get the actual transactional documents.
All right, thank you for clarifying that. I think we have a few more questions coming in. I thought this was going to be our last, but I think we'll take this and a few more and then we'll wrap up. So what is the single biggest risk businesses face under Publican AI and what immediate action should they take? What is the single biggest business risk?
Okay, so you can just imagine that, again, your cargo that you've been clearing all this while, you've been paying a duty of 100 Ghana cedi. And as to whether the transactional value is legitimate or not, I don't want to touch on that. But the practical issue is you've budgeted for 100 Ghana cedi for the duty, only for you to get to the port and your clearing agent says, hey, it is now 500. So if you don't have the 500 readily available, then it means demurrage will set in and there is going to be challenges. Okay. Or if there is a mistake by the AI system and it takes longer time to clear it, they will not come back and say those days that the system made an error, they are going to waive the demurrage. No. So that's a high risk. So if you also want to contest the referencing report of the AI, and it happens that it takes much more longer period than usual, and demurrage sets in, GRA will not say because you were contesting it and you have legitimate grounds, you have legitimate invoices, and eventually you even justified your stand and they admitted it. Demurrage would still be paid by you. So those are the risk, very high risk factors that importers must be abreast with.
All right, thank you. Because of time, we are going to take our last 2 questions. I would encourage participants to keep on bringing in their questions. Even if you're not able to cover them in this session, we would share the recordings as well as answer those questions later on via an email response. But our last questions, the person, Mr. Joshua, wants to know, is the Publican AI open to importers through a website? So can importers directly access the Publican AI? That's question 1. Question 2, can importers independently verify the numbers declared by the Publican AI? So it's a sub question to the first one. And then the last one is Customs the sole proprietary custodian of the Publican AI system?
Okay, so thank you, madam. So the Publican AI is not a separate unit sitting somewhere. It has been integrated into the ICAMs that we have. Okay, the ICAMs that have replaced the GCDETs and other independent standalone systems. So this is a one-stop shop engagement that is already existing. So the ICAMs comes and sits on top of it. Okay, so if you have if you have access to the ICAMs, then you will have access to the Publican AI. Do you get it? And it is a front end that is giving access to freight forwarders. Okay, so there are various stages. You have the front end where you put in your declaration, you put in the various details of your cargo, the origin, the value, and also you select an HS code which you think would apply. And if there are any other concessions that applies to that cargo, okay, you make those selections and you feed it into the system. So the back end is seen by customs. Okay, the flagging system and all those things will be a tracker where the clearing agent will be seen as a dashboard. So that's where they used to track the cargo. That's where they used to make the appeal. And you can use that also to track how far the appeal has gone. Has it been answered? So all those things is at the front end. But the back end is where the reaction, the cross-referencing and all those things go. That one is not available to the public.
All right. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, I think we'll bring the Q&A session to a close now. We've, in some ways, exceeded the time, but it was an interesting conversation. I've learned quite a bit. I know custom issues can sometimes seem a bit daunting, and especially when there are new systems coming up. Thank you for the clarity that you've brought to us today, based on the presentation and the questions I've answered. We are grateful. To the audience, would say that let's keep the conversation going. Firmus Advisory is available to answer any of the questions that you would have. You can just reach out to us through any of our platforms. You can Google us. You can also follow us on our various social media platforms, and we'll be able to interact with you. After this, if you still have any questions, we would be sending a summary of the webinar to you, and you can reply with any questions that you may have, and Emmanuel and his team will be available to answer all your questions. So keep on engaging with us at Firmus Advisory, and we promise to bring you accurate information to enable you make informed decisions that would help grow your business. Thank you so much for attending, and thank you, Emmanuel, for the wonderful presentation.
Thank you so much, Madam, as usual, for your eloquence. Okay, thank you, Brian.
All right, thank you, audience. Thank you for passing through. We are grateful. See you on our next webinar, and follow us on all our social media platforms to get more insights as to what's happening within the market. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of the day.